Hi, this is Joe Cook with a Nostalgic Future Podcast Extra. In our most recent episode, our Christmas Rabbit Hole, Chris and I talked a little bit about the holiday Festivus. Now, Festivus, of course, was made famous by the late, great Jerry Stiller and his character Frank Costanza on the show Seinfeld. Well, back in 2008, I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Jerry Stiller. Now, this is absolutely one of the highlights of my radio career. I was working at WVLT, an oldie station in New Jersey, and he was going to be coming to our area for a performance of a one-man show that he was doing around that time. So we had a fun conversation about his life, his career, and, of course, his work on Seinfeld. And during our chat, I had the chance to ask him about the origins of the holiday Festivus. So as I'm recording this, today is December 23rd, which is the official, unofficial date of Festivus. So we thought it would be kind of fun to share this clip from that conversation as a podcast extra. So here it is. And on behalf of Chris and myself, Nostalgic Future Podcast wants to wish a happy Festivus for the rest of us. Enjoy.
The other thing about Seinfeld and your connection to that show that it's really become a real part of pop culture is this thing called Festivus.
Yeah.
The holiday Frank Costanza invented. Did you ever imagine that this thing would really take off? I mean, to the point where people are actually buying the polls now.
Well, I went out and there was the writing on that show that really was incredible. And Larry David was the creator with Jerry, and they had a kind of their own, I don't know, I call it comic courage to do things that most of the time they'd never worried whether it was going to be nixed or axed by the network or being questioned, and somehow or other they led this kind of charmed life, and I just became part of it in its own wacky way, and it's really amazing when somebody will come up to you and still say a Festivus for the rest of us. They really think of you in that context. I loved it. It's nothing better.
Can you tell me a little bit about the origins of this holiday? Because I read this somewhere, and is it true that this was actually something that somebody connected with the show actually celebrated?
Well, the father of one of the writers, his name was O'Keefe, and had somehow or other not so much celebrated. I don't know the history of this, but there was a holiday in Rome that one of the Roman emperors, when in order to keep the slaves from going nuts when this solstice season came around, decided to declare one day in which the slaves and the people who were the workers and servants could go out and just have a ball and enjoy themselves, and it was given the Roman name Festivus. And I don't know how Mr. O'Keefe's father got the idea, but whatever it is, this kid went ahead and wrote an episode, in which, as people probably remember, Frank Costanza goes into the stores during the holiday season, Christmas, and he gets bumped around by people and gets into a fight with another customer over some kind of a gift, and they go to fight, they come to blows, and at that point, Frank Costanza decides that this holiday, with all its pomp and ceremony, and also kind of a hypocrisy, because it's supposed to be the time of giving, is really a season when people the worst comes out in you. And he decides to celebrate another holiday named Festivus. And he creates the holiday, in which he dismantles the Christmas tree and decides an aluminum pole. That will be the symbol. And instead of exchanging wonderful good thoughts around the table, they do
the feats of strength.
Feats of strength, yes. And mine was with George.
The airing
so
of
all
grievances.
The anger comes out of the holiday. Get it out of your system in one mighty blow, so to speak.
So have you gotten yourself a poll yet?
Well, people do kind of